Can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast. Keep your head and shoulders looking great, and the rest, you could be doing the worm under there, like no one's going to know. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. If you're new here, we're sisters. My name's Emma. I'm a third-year journalism student who's teamed up with my sister Sarah to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're here to give you all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey Em, and hello everyone.
Welcome back. This is episode number 28. Now, to kick off this episode, we want to give our Shoot Your Shot shout out. This week's listener shout out goes to Kris. Kris has been a listener right from the start. He decided that he'd had enough of being a butcher for the last 10 years and needed a bit of a break and career change. He had a few unsuccessful interviews in different roles with a focus on customer service. Come April, he applied for a sales position and ended up being successful, all thanks to our helpful tips and tricks. He says he would like to say a big thank you to both of us and that he shot his shot. Now, this is actually where this segment idea came from, because he said, thanks to you guys, I shot my shot. And then we were like, oh my God, this is the A1.
Yeah.
This is the best student we've ever had. That's the new segment name. So
Kris, you've been there since the beginning. You named our segment. You know, you said thank you to us. We want to say thank you to you.
Yeah, you're an OG. You're an OG.
So he also said that the more interviews he had, the more kind of tips he picked up and ideas he came up with for being better in the next one. And he also loved the advice we had in our first impressions episode about answering unknown numbers in a professional way just in case.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, I love his story because it's a big career change and he wasn't successful straight away. I think that's a good message to people. You know, you're not going to get your first job that you go for necessarily. But congratulations, Kris. We hope you love your new job. And if you're out there and we've helped you in your job search, send us an email or a DM and let us know. We'd love to share your experience, and it really does make our day, doesn't it, Em? We do a little happy dance every time.
We still have imposter syndrome, and like truly feel that it's just like our mum and family friends listening. But obviously it's not, because awesome people like Kris are out there giving us success stories. So keep sending them in so we can get rid of our imposter syndrome. All right, That's enough of that. Let's get into the episode. So with two of our capital cities currently in lockdown again, I'm currently living in lockdown, so I feel that on a spiritual level. We thought it would be a perfect time to talk about virtual interviews. So interviews online, on Zoom, you know, all of that stuff in COVID
So we're
times.
specifically talking about where there's someone actually on the end live, but that it's on Zoom or Google or whatever the other kind of online platforms are. Not to be confused with a recorded one where there's no one on the other end and you're just kind of talking to yourself.
There is a real person there. We're having an interview, but it's just virtual. Now, this goes for non-COVID situations as well, because, you know, online interviews do happen if you're in different cities, if you can't make it, whatever. But our tip is that if you can attend in person, do it. So it's sort of a last resort. You just have a way better chance of picking up on each other's personality, having good chats, just really conveying yourself in person compared to online.
Yes, exactly. And look, obviously in a COVID world, that's not possible. And I'm not suggesting that anyone put themselves at risk or break any rules or anything like that. But this episode will be relevant to lots of people who may not be in lockdown.
Yeah.
And if you have to travel and you can't make it and other people are interviewing in person and they've offered, oh, well, we can just, connect you online. If you're the only one that's been connected online, it's going to be really hard for you to stand out. So I'd encourage you to really think about, can you take a day off? Can you make the trip? When I was interviewing for jobs in Sydney and I was living in Canberra at the time, I made the effort to drive all the way there. Even when they said, oh, we can connect you online or whatever, I went, no, I want to come in.
Yeah.
And I think that made a big difference to being able to create rapport and compete against other people.
Yeah. And shows you're obviously serious about it if you're willing to make the effort.
Definitely. So that's just a bit of a disclaimer at the start. Not saying that you won't get a job through a virtual interview at all. It happens all the time.
Yeah, of course. But
if you've got the option,
yeah,
maybe
why not?
consider, juggling things around.
So let's get into our tips. We have tips for online virtual interviews, how to make it go as smoothly as possible. Number one, big obvious one, tech problems look bad. We all get tech problems from now and then, but the worst time is to have it right before an interview. I'm a bit notorious for this tech stuff. Like, if I have to do something, I'll do it 2 minutes before, and then I realize, oh my God, this takes... Like, I had to get a police check recently before I met up with a babysitting family, and I did it, 5 minutes before, and I was like, oh my God, this takes way longer. I'm going to be late. Like, just prepare.
Or if you haven't joined a Zoom thing before and it makes you download the software, like if you're doing that 5 minutes before, you're like, you're going to be late. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, look, people understand genuinely sometimes, you've set everything up and you've prepared and you're ready, but something just goes wrong. I actually had this where I was on an interview and it wouldn't connect on audio to my computer, and I had to dial in through my phone to use audio. It was the weirdest thing. So things do go wrong at the last minute, but it's always harder to build rapport with someone if there's a big echo or you can't hear them properly or they're freezing a lot. So do your best to minimize all of that as much as possible.
And ways to minimize that: have headphones, specifically wired ones, so there's not any connectivity, Bluetooth problems. Just
in case.
Plug them in,
Yeah. Use your AirPods, but have that old crappy pair of wired ones sitting next to you just in case.
Laptops needs to be plugged in, your phone's charged, software's downloaded, your Wi-Fi's checked, your phone's turned off. Oh my God, I did an interview at uni last semester with somebody. I'd hauled them to campus, in a big studio space, had professional cameras and lights on us, and my phone pinged halfway through and we had to do it all again.
And you're talking journalism kind
journalism,
of interview, right?
Where they say beautiful, authentic answers spontaneously off the bat, and then reciting that and asking the same questions again. Ding. You're just not going to get the same answers. Yeah, I'm triggered. So don't do that. Turn your phone off.
Absolutely. Have your phone turned off. Well, on silent, because you might want it on in case you suddenly have to be like, oh, can I join on my phone because my computer's just gone black and started an update for some reason. Classic.
Okay, another tech sort of related tip, but turn your camera on and check your background, your lighting, camera height. You want to make yourself look good. They can't see how amazing you look in person, so you want to be looking good on camera.
Yeah. And I think people don't necessarily think about how they come across well presented. You want to be thinking about what they can see in your background. I mean, the way that you and I are sitting at the moment is probably not a great example.
Oh, no.
I'm kind of hunched over on the couch and neither of us look very good. We haven't got the right angles going.
Yeah.
But if you're in an interview, you want to be as professional as possible. So you want to check your lighting, make sure that you're facing some light. So if you've got a window that you can look into the window, perfect. That's going to be nice light.
My desk is the wrong way. My desk is facing the other way from a window. So whenever I try to do any Zoom things, it looks terrible. I've got to turn around.
Yeah, but maybe you could like prop some boxes up on your bedside table. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be a permanent solution where you can work for 8 hours. You've just got to get through like a 40-minute, whatever.
Also
interview.
angles, prop yourself up so it looks like they're getting a view of like, your head and shoulders directly on. They're not looking up your nostrils and you're not spying down on them.
I think if you can see your nostrils, your camera or whatever is too low. Lift it up.
Also, the right distance. Like you don't need an extreme close up, and you don't want to be so far back. Just common sense.
Yeah,
make sure
exactly.
You're all proportionate. The lighting's good. Camera height. We love that.
And think about the background too. Like if you can face if you can have a blank wall behind you, I guess that's fine. But if you have like a nicely styled corner, get in front of that.
Or if you live in a uni house like me and there's often inappropriate things on the walls, pick a plain wall.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If you've got like a really nice bookcase behind you, YouTube style, like a background set up, use that. It can look really cool for people to see into your background. But definitely think about all of that stuff. And you can set that up beforehand just by turning your camera on your laptop and just seeing what you can see in that view.
For sure. And the next important tip we have is to join the call at least 5 minutes early in case of issues. This is interesting because I am not one to do this. I would join on the dot because I don't want to awkwardly be sitting in there and then they pop in and but
I know exactly what you mean. And I've done that before to be like, there's kind of a weird thing, right? If you were face to face, you'd be there 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
And we've talked about don't be too early because that's awkward. But you'd be there 10 minutes early. But for some reason when it's online, you just feel like 10 minutes is way too long to be sitting there staring at your screen.
Yeah.
So you're sitting at your computer ready, but you're like, I just won't click the button yet until I have to go in. But you just never know. Once you click that button, something might pop up and be like, you need to update your camera settings or like some random thing. Might go wrong, or you might have to enter a password or a code, or who knows. So I just think try 5 minutes early, click in. It's always better than the interviewer being there. And again, like there's a thing in the virtual world where if I'm on a call and waiting for the candidate and it's 3 minutes past, I'm thinking like, okay, what's going on? 3 minutes is not even that bad, right? But I'm like, on video world, it feels like a long time.
Yeah. No, you're right, because it's like live, it's right there. You're staring at yourself, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. And also have a backup. Be ready to join using your phone. Don't get stuck if your laptop cooks it. You're just stuck and you panic and you're like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Have a backup device.
Or even like being able to suggest that you do a phone call instead. Like you just want some other option to offer them. Maybe get WhatsApp downloaded just in case. You can maybe say, oh, do you want to get on WhatsApp instead? Interviewers will be understanding if things are just going wrong and they're not able to connect or you're not able to. You want to have a backup option. See if you can also get someone's phone number too, in case you're not able to join, and you can kind of message them and say, hey, this is what's going on. I have joined, but I can't hear you, or you can't hear me, or something like that.
Yeah. Another tip, also be at home. Sarah, apparently you've seen a few people join from their car.
Yeah. It's not always a really bad thing, but it's just not my preference. And I think if you can avoid it, you should try and avoid it. I get if you've got literally nowhere to sit and the car is like the quietest place and that's the best kind of setup for you. But it does feel a little bit like
I'm in between running to Coles and I'm quickly going to do this.
You've just squeezed us in and you didn't really want to go out of your way, and you've just been like, oh, I'll just sit in the car, and I'll just do it on my phone. It feels like you've taken the really easy option. Again, like if that's all you've got, like it's not the worst thing. Like we actually hired someone who did an interview from her car. But it's just one of those things, like it's a bit of a novelty. Like, are you in the car? Like, where are you parked? And you've got traffic going past you and stuff. They're on the side of the road somewhere, and it feels a bit like, ugh. Like ordinarily you would have to go in face to face. Like you'd have to drive there, park, walk in, sit at reception. So all of that effort, yes, it's easier being on a video interview, and that's obviously one of the perks. But by the same token, you don't want it to seem like you just literally whipped out your phone and did it there and then. You want to still seem prepared, organised, like you've taken some time out of your day to be serious about it.
Definitely. And also, I think it's really important to take advantage of what they can't see. You are on a little call and they can't see beyond the square around your head. So you can definitely set up notes or a cheat sheet or anything that's going to help next to you, a screen. You can have your answers. It's kind of a big advantage here.
Yeah. And I am, you know this about me, I'm a bit of a fiddler. Literally at the moment I'm fiddling with a cord on my hoodie. So if you are that kind of person as well and you need something to kind of play with to keep your hands busy, sit them on your lap, keep them out of frame, and you can fiddle with something to keep yourself relaxed.
In a way, like there's a lot of benefits. If you're a lot of people in job interviews, like you know how they move or they're rocking or they're like you're nervous, they can't really see that as much. Like you can
tap your feet and they won't even notice.
Keep your head and shoulders looking great, and the rest you could be doing the worm under there. Like no one's gonna know. So that is a bonus.
But you can also have like a cup of tea. You could have like a glass of water sitting there. You could have the whole wall behind your computer covered in notes and prompts and like affirmations or whatever it is that makes you happy.
No one's putting affirmations up there. They're putting up the dot points of things that they have to absolutely talk about in that interview. Come on.
Emma, you're an affirmations person. I feel like you would do that.
I am.
You'd be
I
like,
have some on
you
my
got
mirror.
this.
Have I showed you the ones on my mirror?
Are they from like an actual company?
Yeah, it's called Mirror Merch. Here's a plug, anyone that likes affirmations out there. They're just like an adhesive, like you stick them on your mirror, and one of them says, "My energy is limitless," and the other says, "I embrace all of me," and then we have one in the bathroom that says, "You look perfect."
See, you could stick one of that, like you could stick a little post-it note that had like a little positive message behind it. So you looked up at that and thought,
no one's
I
doing
can do
that.
this.
They're too stressed in the job interview. They're looking out for answers and desperation.
Maybe they should. I've done it once where I had another tab open next to the actual video tab and I had some answers there so that I could kind of click over to it. I think the best way to do it though is to have it not on your screen, just because they can kind of see you.
I would suggest like the wall directly above where your camera is, so it's not like it just looks like you're looking at the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, although we've kind of said at the start that if you have the option to go in, you should go in. That's better. If you can't though, in a lot of ways. There's lots of bonuses to doing it online. Like we just said,
advantage.
You can write down all your answers. You can come across really prepared. You can, I don't know. There's probably not as much anxiousness knowing that you're not literally in the room. It feels a lot less intimidating. So if you don't have the opportunity to do it in person, don't be disheartened. Just think of all the perks and really capitalize on those perks.
And I think when we were talking to Jay a few episodes ago, he talked about how you can fake that you're having trouble hearing them if you need more time. Or you can pretend, sorry,
that lagged. What was that? And then you get an extra 5 seconds.
I don't know about that. I think like if you can get away with it, sure, but
risky.
Just
high
say
risk, high reward.
Hey, sorry, you kind of dropped out a bit there. Do you mind just repeating that question? Is totally fine. I think he was kind of talking about pretending that he was lagging too, like just sitting there looking and making funny faces and being like, "Oh, sorry, I'm frozen."
Sorry, yeah. Oh, we're breaking up. No,
my internet's bad.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway. Take advantage of it. There's lots of good things about having a virtual interview. You're not actually sat face to face. They can't see you if you're sweaty. They can't.
Yeah.
It's much, much harder to be late for a video interview as well.
The odds can definitely be in your favour. The only thing is it might be a bit harder to convey personality. So you might have to put more focus into really being enthusiastic and keen and...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's also a chance for your interviewers to maybe be distracted as well if they've got other things going on in their background or whatever. So yeah, but it goes kind of both ways.
There you have it. We hope you all feel a bit more equipped to handle those online and virtual interviews, which are now probably our new normal for a little bit. Looking at you, Sydney and Melbourne.
Yep. Good luck. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you liked this episode and you want to support us, go ahead and hit follow on Spotify or subscribe in Apple. That's how we can hit the charts so we can help even more people. For more advice, inspiration, and a supportive community, don't forget to check us out on Instagram at InterviewBoss.
If we've been your job search besties and helped you in some way, there's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.